Good morning. Chandler here, President of PFL, bringing you this week's North American rail, energy, and macro update. Starting with the market, stock closed higher on Friday of last week, capping off a positive week. Dow gained 238 points on Friday, closing out the week at 46,190 points, up 711 points week over week. The S&P added 111 points for the week, while the Nasdaq gained 476 points week over week. And overnight trading, Dow futures are trading higher from Friday's close. In the energy space, crude oil closed out slightly higher on Friday of last week, but finished the week down. WTI closed at 57.54, down $1.36 per barrel week over week. Brent ended at 61.29, down $1.44 a barrel week over week. Looking at the latest EEI data, oil stocks increased by 3.5 million barrels. Distillates saw a significant drop, falling by 4.5 million barrels. Now for the rail traffic update. Total North American rail traffic was up slightly at 0.3% compared to the same week last year. Carloads increased by 1.5%, while intermodal slipped by 0.8% compared to the same week last year. The big story in the data was a paradox in grain shipments, which posted a slight decline, 0.0%, right in the middle of peak harvest season. This isn't due to the weak harvest, but rather a shift in logistics, as strong corn harvest in the southeast is satisfying local demand, reducing the need for long-haul rail. In Canada, CP showed exceptional performance, moving the highest weekly grain volume since October of 2020, up 23% from the same week last year. The carrier specified record was a bright spot that was invisible in the aggregate national data. Now for the big stories we are watching for you this week. Folks, you are not going to believe this one, but the UN was going to impose a carbon tax on shipping, but instead postponed a vote on the global carbon tax after a Trump-led pushback. See PFL's rail report for further details on this one. PFL was in full force at the AAR Tank Car Committee meeting in Texas last week. The main focus discussion was man-weight performance, specifically surrounding gasket issues and lid behavior during opening. While no new rules were adopted, the direction is clear. Regulators are prioritizing reliability at known leak points and evaluating long-term service practices for the aging fleet. We are also watching Canadian National, which is making strategic moves. CN is expanding their cold storage facilities in Calgary. This is a market shift and a big restructuring of jobs and a pivot to find higher margin ventures. The opposition of the proposed Union Pacific NS intensified last week. Attorneys claims the railroad merger would enhance competition. He pointed out both the UP and the NS urged against the very same economic theories when CP merger took place last year, a stance they seem to be ignoring in their own deal. Finally, the battle over Canadian energy exports is intensifying. Enbridge is moving forward with plans to add a 150,000 barrel per day capacity on its mainline system. This comes after Alberta Premier Daniel Smith is championing a 1 million barrel a day pipeline to BC's west coast. However, the industry considers this a pipeline to nowhere as long as Prime Minister Carney's left-wing government remains non-committal to repealing the oil tanker ban on British Columbia's northern coast. On the rig count front, the North American rig count was up 6 rigs week over week. The US added 1 rig week over week, while Canada added 5 rigs week over week. The key takeaway this week is that the industry is focused on fundamentals. We're seeing strategic pivots from carriers like CN, focus on equipment reliability, and the ARR massive stalemate. For the latest updates on what equipment's for sale or lease or customized rail solutions, contact us at PFL. Remember, we clean, flare, service, and store rail cars across North America. On a final note, PFL will be attending this week's Sears conference up in Atlanta. Please give Brian Baker or Lisa T. Filippo a call for a meeting or stop by our table. We look forward to seeing you in Atlanta. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week with another update on what's moving the North American rail and energy markets. Please make sure you read our report today. We do it all for you. Thank you.